So with you guys, because you train by yourself most of the time, I mean, people don't see it on the YouTube, but most of the time I'm pretty positive you're training by yourself. And you're training harder than most people, otherwise you wouldn't look like and be in the positions that you're in. How do you mitigate those thoughts? Because people are listening to this. It's like, that's great, I wish I could train with Dave all the time, or that's great, and they can't.
Yeah.
So they're in the same position that most of us are in all the time. So how do you mitigate those things yourself, both of you guys?
We kind of take care of the in-between things. So
to know if you're pushing hard enough or not pushing hard enough.
I think maybe you can focus on something that you know you shouldn't be doing. Like, for example, looking at your phone all the time. So I didn't pick up my phone the entire workout. Do you notice that? I left it over there on that stool. You know, there's no stories of this workout on my Instagram. Thank you guys for tagging me so I could repost something. But you know, if I didn't focus on trying to catch as many breaths as I could before the next set and spray my face and find a fan and stay on my feet the correct amount of time, I'm always looking ahead like, this guy is going to keep throwing another thing at me. You know what I mean? The first thing I can do that I know is going to help me is to start immediately right after I get off that machine to recover. You know, you can't be like, oh, I got to go again in a second, I got to recover real quick. No, the recovery starts the moment you get off the damn machine. You know, sitting on your phone and looking around or solving something else, other problems in the room. So knowing that those things are going to be there to distract you ahead of time, if you're going to actually have a good hard workout, then subtract those. And then you're left with recovery. You know what I mean? So that's how I would mitigate it if you're working out by yourself. Does it make sense?
No, that makes absolute sense. And I'm glad that you said that, because you're a big social influencer, right? So basically what you're saying is the majority of your training, you're not on your phone.
Right.
Being somebody that most people would probably think you're on your phone every training session that you have. Those are probably your most unproductive training sessions. They're your content training sessions.
Right.
The most productive ones are the ones where you're not doing that.
Right.
You know, would you say the same for yourself?
Yeah, it's kind of funny to piggyback with that. I hate my phone. Like, if I did not need to be on my phone or use my phone, like, we talk about this all the time, I would not. Like, I'm the kind of guy who would love to just, like, be in the woods by himself. And, you know, this is the nature of the beast, and I understand that, so I built something that I rely on. And if you guys follow me on social media, I am out in the woods a lot, and I schedule a lot of just solitude time to myself. The other thing that has really helped me, and I think I kind of picked this up from John, actually, in training with him, is when I record anything, when I train, it's on my tripod, and I record it, but I don't post any of that stuff until hours later. So it gives me time to just, okay, I set it up, boom, I hit record, I do my set. So whenever people see it, that's not when it happened. You know what I mean? So this is like hours later, and that's really helped me with training, instead of thinking, I need to record this or I need to put it on right away. And I just use my phone camera, and then I can upload it whenever. And the people don't really know any different, but for me, it lets me focus on my training way more.
And not only that, but if you're recording something and then you, in between your sets, you're like reviewing the footage, you're like, oh shit, maybe I should do a different angle. Maybe, and then you start thinking about things outside of that training.
Yeah.
I don't even look at it. Yeah, I don't even look at it. You know, the reviewing then is like, if you're going to be recording things for stories or something, you hit record. When you're done, you turn it off. I don't even look at that footage. But sometimes it's not all. This isn't the absolute devil here. Like, if I'm filming a top set of squats, and like I'm thinking I might be able to post this on Instagram as a feed post, or this is like I got 700 something pounds on my back, and you go for 3, you're like, shit, maybe I could do 5. You know what I mean? That thing's pushing you. Like, I want to show them how strong I really am, you know? But if you film everything all the time and you're on your phone looking at anything else, it's going to screw up your recovery in between all the other stuff that we were doing today. You know what I mean? So sometimes, like, you know, it's motivating. It's like, I want the best clip possible. I want the best top set. I want to squat this weight so I can improve. But the rest of the time, you know, just...
I think this is probably, for those that are listening, the most important bit of information and training advice, and even social media advice that you guys have ever given without even knowing it.
No?
Yes, because how many people, you know, are filming everything, you know, and how distracting is it becoming to their training without them knowing it's becoming distracting to their training, you know, to where you're both successful influencers on social media. And you're sitting here saying, yes, this is... See, I'm an old head. I can say, just fuck it, leave your phone in the car and train hard. That's not reality. I get that. I understand that. That is not reality. Nobody's going to... Well, some will, but very few people are going to do that. But then they go too far, and then it impacts their training, right? Where there's a balance there. Now you're going to fall on a different end of the balance because it's how you guys earn a living and so forth, but it's still not destructive to your training.
Right.
That's the point that I think is getting missed is, I will hear people say things, and they could be right, they could be wrong. I'm just saying what I'm hearing. I have to film every set because I have to critique the technical aspect of every set that I do. I'm like, okay, really? I have to, and I get it if you're doing a story once a week or whatever it's going to be, different type of context. But that's where I think some of my generation, the old heads, are going to sit there and say that's why they suck, because they're filming everything.
Yeah.
Well, there's obviously a strategy. I'm not asking you to share your social media strategies, but there's a strategy.
Yeah.
But there still has to be this balance that the training is the most important thing, because if you look like shit, then nobody's going to follow you anyhow.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? I mean, there's some factor. Now, great, you can look great, nobody's going to follow you because you have no person. There's a lot of other factors, the personality and all the other stuff. But I do think a lot of people can do very well by going back and listening to what you guys just said.
Yeah.
Something that recently I had done is I have a camera person now for my training sessions, which I'm in a position to do that.
Yeah.
But it was driving me crazy trying to set up the camera, hit record, and then have to go squat 500 some pounds. Like, there's just too many variables. And like I said, I'm in a position where I can do that, and this is a big part of my life. But just having someone be there so I can just train.
But see, that's not going to be every training session you do either.
No. But it's just has helped a lot because, like you had said, my focus now, I can put more focus on the training. And before, with all those variables, it's like, this is just exhausting, and it's taking away from me actually being able to do the things that I personally just love and enjoy. So there is that, like, the balance, and then you have to figure that out for what works best for you. But yeah, at the same time, you guys have to be aware of, how much is that affecting your training? How much does that really need to be put on Instagram? It's probably not as much as you think.
Right.
So
no one wants to see every set you do. They probably don't even want to see half the exercises you do. They
Or
might
the-
want to see
or
a
the-
couple reps of a top set, maybe one accessory exercise.
Yeah.
Like, that takes very little effort if you're efficient. It's almost like a martial art. You got to be, it's almost like a Zen type thing. You get really good at it where it doesn't interfere, but still you have to know, like, how much is actually necessary here. You know what I mean? You don't film everything you're doing.
Yeah, and not only that, most people who say, "Oh, I'm filming all my sets for technique," they never look at the video again.
I've never heard someone say that. I don't want to ever hear them say that.
No, absolutely
That's
not.
ridiculous.
Because most of the time you record something, you're like, "Yeah, I'll look at this later."
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
the amount of people that have sent me videos, and I think they get bummed out by, like, me not critiquing them as much because I'm like, it looks pretty good, but in their mind, they've created this is like the worst squat or deadlift ever. And I'm just like, well, how long have you been doing it? I just started. Well, maybe just more reps. Like, it's going to help. But it's just funny how people can go on and on about how bad it is. And you look at it and you're like, that's pretty good. And they get disappointed with that. It's like,
Just let them know. No, that does suck.
Yeah.